Welcome to Free Your Mind Reviews. This is Chris Johnson with a review of Terminator Dark Fate. Now, with the coronavirus hitting the entire world and all the movie theaters closed, I decided to do what some other YouTube pages are doing and review some things that I saw in November and December, but didn't get the chance to review because I was too busy with my own film, Beater. I watched all these movies, but then once I was done watching the movies, I'd come home and work on my film, editing scenes, preparing to shoot other scenes, so there wasn't really a time for me to sit in front of the camera to just review movies. I was too busy prepping for my own, so. Terminator Dark Fate. So, yeah, this is, of course, 4 months after having seen it. And, my initial thoughts were that it was entertaining. And it is. It was. But completely unnecessary. Not only completely unnecessary, but then at the same time commits an egregious cardinal sin just like Alien 3 does. And of course, if you've seen the film, and this is going to be like a spoiler review, you know what I'm talking about because it happens in the first fucking scene. The murder of John Connor. So this movie sells itself as being the real Terminator 3, the real follow-up to the classic The Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So you have the gall to say that about yourself, to promote yourself as that. You have Linda Hamilton back, Arnold's back again, James Cameron's involved, and then you murder John Connor in the first scene. One of the biggest things I hated about Terminator Genisys is that in doing its alterations and stuff like that, it wipes out the two classics out of existence in its story. And what does Terminator Dark Fate do? Makes the two classics worthless. Makes their journey worthless because you murdered John Connor. So you go back to Terminator 2 knowing that none of that matters because he's going to die in a few years anyway. From a Terminator that looks just like Arnold. Let's just get that out right away. That's some bullshit. And honestly, for anyone else who... I cannot blame them one bit for that killing their interest in the movie. Completely killing it. I can't blame them at all. At all. Because even though the movie's entertaining in the most superficial way. Has nice action. Has cool CGI. Linda Hamilton's really good. Arnold's really good. But the problem at the same time is not only do you kill John Connor, you do it for no reason because in the end you don't really do anything new. Say what you want about Terminator Salvation, it at least does something new. It just didn't do it to its fullest potential. And Genisys is the dumbest movie I've ever seen. It's like a parody of Terminator. T3 is T2 light. Dark Fate is also T2 light. It doesn't do anything new. Nothing. Nothing that separates it from the other Terminators. Both the classic ones and the who gives a shit ones. It tries to do what Blade Runner 2049 did with Harrison Ford, but doesn't do it nearly as well because Kay is Ryan Gosling's character in that film is arguably a more engaging character than Deckard was in the first film. Whereas this film, Grace is an asshole. Grace is kind of a try-hard, too obviously tough in your face character, and the way she disrespects Sarah Connor kind of pisses me off. And then you have Danny, who's... I don't understand. They could have said, okay, we affected the timeline, John Connor's not the savior anymore, but he can help guide this new savior, this new chosen one, to the future. And if he died as an adult saving her, then that would have been way more worthy of John than the shit stain they did. And let's be honest, the action scenes are just, here's this film's version of the same action scenes from T1 and T2. Here's our freeway truck chase. but then it has the weird 2019 overabundance of CG and it just comes off superficial, fake, and it's like I wasn't as harsh on this movie when I first saw it, but really like thinking about it, can't help it. Action scenes are cool. At least they're shot well and edited decently, but very gimmicky at the same time. Like I said, the abundance of CGI, superhero movements that weren't around in T1 and T2. Not practical enough. I really miss practical action. Like T2 is known for its special effects, but it's a great mix of CGI and just great practical work. I really miss practical work. You know, Arnold's great, but not enough of him. You know, they should stop making these movies. I felt like that with Terminator Genesis, and even though Dark Fate is better than Terminator Genesis, it does commit that cardinal sin with John. John gets disrespected in every Terminator movie after T2. Terminator 3 turns him into a bitch. Terminator Salvation has Christian Bale and barely uses him. Terminator Genesis turns him into a fucking Terminator. And then Terminator Dark Fate kills him in the opening scene. Every Terminator movie after T2 says fuck John Connor. So I have no choice but to say fuck them. There are only 2 Terminator movies. Everything else is fan fiction. Because even when it's doing good, all it's doing is a lesser version of what you saw in the first 2 films. The fuck is the point? Like, you literally have to sit back and say, what the fuck is the point in this movie? You just watch Terminator 1 and 2. It was like they wanted to do what Halloween did, which was rejuvenate the franchise by going back to the old school route. But Halloween kind of needed it and deserved it. T2 doesn't need Terminator doesn't need it because we have 2 films, 2 classics. And everybody's trying the best they can. Mackenzie Davis, Arnold, Linda, Gabriel who played the Rev 109, who's not bad. But like I said, if you want a better version, just watch T1000 from T2. And you can just watch T1 and T2 and pretend that there was no other film after that, and it was over. I hope they don't make any more of these. The series is over. You want to see a new film do a great job rejuvenating an old school classic franchise and taking it to the future? Creed did that. Creed and Creed 2 did that. There's nowhere else to go to Terminator except for like a streaming service series about the future war. Otherwise, leave me alone. It's over. We'll always have T1 and T2. And it's all we need.